Hi, my name is Kerri, and 2 years ago I had a valve replacement and also had a pacemaker inserted 5 days after surgery. I work as a typist for orthopaedic specialists, but prior to hospital I worked in a distributing company, and I was kind of lifting heavy boxes and things like that, and I just couldn't go back to that job. I had a 7-year-old before the surgery. I was always quite sick way before then as well. Like, we travelled and things like that, and we did all the fun stuff, and I worked and just carried on life because I thought that nothing was ever wrong, or I thought I had a cold, I thought I was a gluten intolerance. So we kind of just lived life normal, but I couldn't, if we were going out places and things like that, I couldn't kind of go upstairs because I was always short of breath, which I thought was my asthma. 2 years ago, I kept getting I went to the doctors a few months prior, and she heard a heart murmur, and then after that she said to me she'll send me to the hospital put me on the waiting list to see a cardiologist, and then she said if I ever got swelling and things like that too, I had to go up to the hospital. So my legs started swelling, and I would come home from work and kind of put my feet up, and then the swelling would go away. And then I went out for dinner for my niece's birthday, and the next day my legs were swollen when I got home, and the next day they were still swollen. So I said to my husband, I think we better go to the hospital. And when we went up, and they took us straight through, which was really, really good, and they said I was in the final stages of heart failure. And we were thinking it was just asthma. So, and then from then on it was 2 weeks. I spent a week in Rotorua Hospital and then a week in Waikato Hospital and did all the tests. They said that my 2 valves were weak. I lost 15 kilos in hospital from just fluid. I had just had heaps and heaps of fluid. And then I went up to Waikato, and they discharged me once because I could breathe really, really good after all of that, and I felt really good. And so they sent me home and said that they'll give me a call and I'll probably have surgery within 2 months or so. A couple of days later they rang me and said, oh no, we've booked your surgery for next week. So it was an overnight procedure, so I went over to Waikato to do that procedure, which was a valvuloplasty, which they put in a balloon and they balloon open the valve, and I think when they did that, the valve broke, and so I was in hospital for another 3 days, and then I had my open heart surgery. And then about 5 days after that, I had a pacemaker put in. My family were, they were shocked, like when we rang them when I was in hospital that first night, and we said I was in heart failure, and everyone was just like, what's going to happen? But so they were really good. It was a bit hard over in Waikato because everyone was here and working, but they all helped with Drew, and my husband would come over every probably 2nd or 3rd day. When I got discharged from hospital, the doctor said that I'd need to have an appointment with him within 3 months, and then when I went and saw him after my 3-month appointment, he said I didn't have to see him for another 3 years, so I've got another year to go until I see him again. And my pacemaker appointment, I was 100% dependent on my pacemaker when I got out of hospital because I was in heart block. And then I went for a pacemaker appointment 2 months after hospital, and I was still 100%. And then the month after I was 80% dependent on it, and then about 6 months after that I was down to 3% dependent on it. The most difficult thing that has come out of the whole surgery is the pacemaker. It kind of affects a lot more things than what just your open heart surgery did. It's to do with when I talk on the phone, I can't have the phone on my left side, which you kind of forget sometimes. And then metal detectors and things like that, I can't go through them. I think the hospital ones I can now, but the actual open heart surgery, I mean, I've only really got the scar to remind me of it, but yeah, it's the pacemaker is the thing that I wasn't expecting. My tissue valves only last 10 to 15 years, and because I got them done at such a young age, that's why I think I have to go back for that appointment at 3 years, because then they'll monitor how the valves are going. The main reason why I did decide to do the tissue valves was if we decide to have another child, it would have been a bit too hard if I'm on warfarin to have a child, so we opted for the tissue valve. I had mitral stenosis and tricuspid regurgitation, that's what they had said it was. I had an enlarged liver as well, and so with the surgery that I had a valve replacement. So they replaced both my valves with pig valves, which I found really hard after. I cannot eat pork or bacon or anything now. I think it's just a mental thing, because I loved pork chops. They were my favourite, and now I just can't eat anything with pork. It was a bit of a roller coaster ride when it came to emotions, and they said to us when I was in hospital that you may, cry or when you're talking about things, which I did, but I kind of I'm a positive thinker. I never kind of thought, oh, I'm going to die or anything like that. I think, if you've got a cold, if you keep thinking that you're sick, I believe that you kind of get sicker. I think my family kind of helped as well. They wouldn't come up to me and be like, oh, I'm so sorry that, this happened, or things like we had a Last Supper before I went for surgery, and, we're quite a funny family, so, yeah, it wasn't, I think it happened so fast that we never had time to think about it. Yeah, my family, it was a really big shock, especially my grandfather died of a heart attack, and, but we never really ever thought anything like that would happen. I mean, they were obviously all upset, and they did put a lot of, they came up and saw me and was really good with the help of Drew and things like that. And I went and stayed with my sister when I got out of hospital, so it was good having family to help. Lifestyle changes that I've had to make I've really learnt to eat healthy. We were pretty healthy beforehand, but now it's kind of a little bit more important, and I kind of push it more on the family now as well to do the healthy eating. We don't drink much, and I used to smoke, but it's been 4 years now since I've given up smoking, and but yeah, and exercise is, I'm not very motivated. I'm a very motivated person, so it's kind of like I'm quite good. My husband kind of pushes us. That's why we do a lot of outdoor things, and we go and see things like Hamarana Springs, and going for a walk through the redwoods, and just I'm more of a leisure walker. So, but I mean, it's a change for the good. I suppose you need a skier to maybe give you a bit of life perspective.